Welcome back to the Make It Epic Wedding podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and we have Matt. We are at episode number 5 today. Matt, mate, how are you?
Good, mate. How are you? We're back again.
Back again for another episode. Who would have thought?
I know, we made it. I'm super excited for today. Hey, we're talking about how to make your wedding day epic, which is exciting. We've got 5 tips, which hopefully will be of good value to everybody. But yeah, before we jump in, what's been happening this week, mate? We've been busy, haven't we? We've shot a fair few weddings together.
We have. We had an absolute epic elopement on Tuesday, which was so good, man. Like that really just shined a light on how good elopements can be. Hey, I was so pumped with that.
100%. I feel like that's definitely going to be a topic in the future, talking about elopements for sure. Which, you know, when we get to that, that'll be sick. But yeah, we've had 2 elopements this week, which is pretty cool. So we've, both down on the coast. Smashed them out. Tuesday was, amazing. It was a super fun, surprise elopement as well. So, yeah, it was wild times. It was super sentimental in some aspects. There was we had a bit of everything, a bit of fun. We got to go to a whole bunch of different locations. And then, we had a bit of a surprise for the extended family in the afternoon, which was cool too. So,
Man, how pumped was the family, hey? They were so surprised.
There was proper waterworks going left, right and centre. Actually, there was a lot of waterworks going today too, wasn't there? There was people were crying everywhere today as well. So it was sick.
Yeah. I just loved how they came in just with a bottle of champagne, through and just everyone screaming.
No one was ready for it. I don't even know if we were ready for that. I don't think we quite understood. I don't think, it was one of those things where nobody really understood what was going on. And it was all just happening left, right and centre. So that was fun.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah,
and we had an elopement today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was sick today. Rained a little bit, which is always a bit disappointing, but also at the same time as well, the rain was kind of nice. I don't know, it all comes down to the attitude. Hey, the couple's attitude was epic today. They just were we don't care, we'll just get it done, and regardless of the weather, and we all got a little bit wet, but I don't know, just that soft mood lighting was perfect.
Yeah, I loved it. It's just the soft lighting, no harsh shadows. I even though I was absolutely soaked and I was cleaning my camera lens every 10 seconds, it was actually really nice. And yeah, the couple were just absolutely owning it, regardless of what the weather was. So yeah, that was good. But let's not give away too much, because that could be one of the questions. But so today's episode, we are talking about 5 ways to make your wedding day epic.
Oh, what a topic. I feel like this is our podcast to a T. This could make or break us today.
Mate, we could probably do 50 ways to make your wedding day epic, but let's keep it simple. 5 simple ways I think anyone can really adopt for their own wedding. And there's a couple of bangers in there for you creatives out there as well that want to kind of utilize this information as well to make your couple's wedding day epic as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And I guess just start off, it's not just because we picked these 5, as Tim said, there's probably a bazillion we could do. We've just picked 5 random ones, probably some of the more popular ones, the ones that we think really do make a difference. Do you want to start off with, give us number 1, mate? Let's get into it.
All right, number 1 to make your wedding day epic is get clear on your negotiables and non-negotiables.
Yeah, it's such a, that is I think we've put this number 1 purely because it can literally make or break your day. Because if we don't have an idea as what is negotiable and what is non-negotiable, that is the essence of your day. And if you don't understand what you do and don't want, how is your day going to be epic?
Yeah, exactly. Because every couple's different. Every wedding's different. So so we put it as number 1 because we really think it's important that you really sit down with your partner and have a think about what's important to you, what do you value, and have a good think about what are the negotiables for your wedding and what are the absolute non-negotiables. So, let go of the so-called things of tradition and just do what you want. Choose the vendors that align with your vision, and just have a good think about what is going to make your wedding day truly unique to you. So what are a couple of things that we could probably give as an example for some non-negotiables, mate?
Non-negotiable. Like, I feel like it's simple. I'm a photographer, so obviously the photographer is a non-negotiable. Like, I don't really think I've ever been to a wedding where they didn't have a photographer. Actually, that's a lie. I've been to a wedding before. Well, I haven't been to a wedding, but I did have a couple inquire with me very late on in the piece, and they were like, "We've got a videographer, but we don't have a photographer." And I think that's the first I've ever heard of a couple not having a photographer already booked. And this was like a month before their wedding, and they're like, "Everyone was saying we should have a photographer." So that's probably a first. But yeah, look, I do think obviously photography is a non-negotiable for 99.9% of people, and that's pretty standard. Obviously, as well, the other non-negotiable would be a celebrant, because you have to have a celebrant to
legally get married. Yeah, for sure. See, video. This is where video is a little bit different, right? Because it's actually not a non-negotiable. Like for some people it is, but I would probably say 50 these days. Probably 50%. Like it's a negotiable vendor. It really is.
Yeah, I think that, and most of the time that comes down to price, and they don't always necessarily see the value in it. And like, I guess obviously doing what we've done for a long time, and like not just for you, I guess pumping up the video world, but from a photography aspect, looking at videographers, there's definitely a place for them at every single wedding, because there's a big difference between still photos and video, and I think both of them have a place. Look, in a perfect world, I'm sure we would love for for photo and video to be both non-negotiables and in that category. But yeah, I don't know whether it is, and I do think that the main probably thing is potentially the price barrier, and just I guess the education around what value video brings to the day.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think usually the couples that are attracted to my work, so to speak, appreciate and value video, and it's important to them, and having their story like told. Gone are the days of like those big Uncle Ben carried a massive 13 kilo camera, like
camcorder.
But yeah, like it's these days I think that is changing. That's a big topic in itself as well. But
I think COVID helped that situation too, right? Like COVID definitely helped the fact that like there could be family members not being able to make it, and then therefore people realized quite quickly that video is very different to photo, and the fact that like there is like sound, audio being recorded, there's movement that happens not just from a still image being recorded as well. It just brings a lot more emotion into it as well.
Yeah, massive. Like imagine looking back in years to come and you can hear like your partner and yourself say your vows to each other.
Yeah,
you can hear the speeches. You can
see grandma
like,
crying, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I reckon some other negotiables as well would be like, what about the cake, right? Like having a wedding cake. Is that a negotiable, do you think?
It is if like you're like me and you love cake. Like it's a non-negotiable for me. You have to have cake.
Unless it's a donut cake.
Yeah, donut cake, yeah. Or some weird flavour, like chocolate, bring it on, get me there. But I definitely think like cake has a time and a place. Yes, it's definitely a tradition that I don't know, we've all carried on. Nobody really knows why we carry on that tradition, I feel like. I'm sure there's a reason. Maybe we should Google it. But, we probably should. Definitely, when like no one sings. It's not like we sing you a song when you cut the cake or anything like that. But, yeah, I do think there's a time and a place for it. But it can be awkward sometimes if you don't put it in the right place throughout your reception.
Yeah, like, look, the big one with, like, saying, like, getting clear on the negotiables and the non-negotiables is the fact that it's just important to figure out what you want. And if you want something, then do it. If you don't want something, then don't do it. If you don't want to have a cutting of the cake, don't do it. Like, if you
want to have a first dance, don't do it. Like, if dancing makes you feel awkward, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I think, like, yeah.
Yeah, so like for me, it's really important to like go through like all of these things, and I use basically a questionnaire to ask my couples like what are the really important things that you must do on your wedding day, and what are the things that potentially could be against tradition that you don't want to do? Because if it's not going to serve you, if it's going to make you feel like a bit awkward, then just cut it out. Because at the end of the day, no one really cares. Like they really don't. Like, and if you are going to make your wedding day more suited to you, to what you want and what you and your partner like, because like really it comes down to what you want, and you're going to have a better day if you incorporate these things, or even not incorporate certain things which were considered like quote unquote tradition. It just makes it better for you, and I feel like it brings out a better mood, a better vibe, potentially better photos and better videos as well.
Absolutely, because we do a lot on the day with you guys, and like obviously not just me and Tim, but like your videographer or photographer that you have, we're all pushing to make sure that your day is epic. But there's only so much that we can do. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if there's something that you're doing on the day that doesn't bring you joy, that is probably into the negotiable aspect or the negotiable list. You know, if you've ever looked at yourselves in the mirror when you're like upset or not happy with something, like that's pretty much what's going to reflect your photos and video, right? So yeah, I'm a big fan of making sure that like whatever you do, and that whatever is in the non-negotiable aspect of the day brings you joy. And if it's bringing you joy, your day is going to be epic no matter what.
Couldn't agree more. Perfect. All right, let's close the door on number one. All right, what's number two, mate?
We're talking organization, and I feel like this is such a, I don't know. I always feel like every single person, when it comes to the wedding day, throws the photographer and the videographer under the bus with this organization part of it, because they're always like, oh, I don't know, why don't you go and ask your photographer for what time you should do things? But I think like, you know, that comes down to like obviously the timeline of the organization part, but organization in general doesn't just mean timeline. It just means having an idea again about what you want to happen on the day and making sure that everything is in place well and truly before the day so that you can enjoy it. You know, like the wedding planning process is hectic. Like we will not sugarcoat that. It is overwhelming. But you also need to remember that like you're still in the like engagement process too. And sometimes we like get engaged and we get so caught up in like the like organization of the wedding that we miss that like exciting period of like still dating before we get married.
Yeah, for sure. And like come to think of it, like on the day, right? Like not everything goes to plan. It really doesn't. But like if, especially like I know for us, like our planning and organization is to a high level because we want to know exactly what's happening on the day. So then, you know, on the day, like the couples can rely on their vendors to be able to look after the situation. So if things potentially running a little bit behind, you know, like the couple don't need to stress about that. Like you guys don't need to like worry about that. Rely on the vendors that have organized and helped you and walk you through the process of your wedding planning, and lean on your vendors to be able to coordinate what's going to happen. And that's why the pre-planning is so important. Like for me, like I like to basically have a run sheet questionnaire, and although it's not a Bible, but it gives us a good basis to figure out exactly what's happening where, what time, so that on the day we can really take control of a situation, so there is no stress on the couple, you know, none whatsoever. And, like, you know, and that's a big point.
And exactly, 100%. And the thing is that like we probably sound like Nazis in the lead up to it a little bit. I always feel like when I send the questionnaires through and there's like all these, like, you know, not all these, but there's a lot of questions there. The only reason we're asking all these questions and we're trying to get a better understanding of your day is so that on the day you guys are not worrying about it. Like, and then on the day as well, I'm a lot more chilled and relaxed and laid back because I know exactly what's going on. There's no pressure from you guys. Like you're not walking around with a watch and looking at your like schedule, being like, oh, it's 4:00 and we should have started family photos 10 minutes ago, because that's not your job. Like your job is to enjoy the day, enjoy the process, and let whatever happens. I don't think I've ever been to a wedding where either A, it's gone to plan, as you said, or B, I've never been to a wedding where I've been like, that sucked and that just didn't work. Like, you know, every single wedding always works out regardless of what happens on the day.
Yeah, like, and it's not like we're Nazis on the day. Like, that's the furthest from the truth. Like, we're actually, like, for me, like, I am so, like, chilled and, like, calm, relaxed, and I just want to have fun on the day because I know what's happening. Like, I already know. Like,
Yeah.
I know the run sheet in the back of my head. So, like, I'm calm, confident, and just want to freaking have a bit of fun.
Yeah, and that's our job to worry about the timeline, and not your job to worry about the timeline of the day. Actually, talking about looking way too relaxed, I a couple of weeks ago, shout out to Michaela and Justin, shot their wedding a few weeks ago, and I remember specifically because she talked about looking too chilled. She was like, in the morning, just before, like, when I kind of got there, I walked into, like, where she was getting ready, and I had my hands in my pockets, and I was just, like, strolling on in, just, like, not taking too much, like, I don't know. Apparently I looked very casual. And she's like, oh, wow, don't you just look way too relaxed for your Saturday morning? And I was like, yeah, I'm just here to shoot some prep. Like, let's get it going. Like, and I think that just, like, made her relax instantly, because she was running around a little bit stressed. There's a lot going on in the morning of your wedding. And, like, if we come running in with our, like, I don't know, flapping our hands around going, oh, we need to do this, and this, let's go, hurry up. Imagine how much extra stress that's going to bring on you. So,
that's a big thing. Yeah, like, that's a big thing, right? Like, imagine, like you and I or another photographer, videographer, like, rocks up in the morning, like, panicking, like, we got to get this done, like, we got to make sure we get this done because there's not enough time. Like, it's not good. Like, that does not bring a relaxed vibe whatsoever. And, like, that is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do on the day. Like, the absolute exact opposite.
Exactly, and that's why the organisation aspect is probably, like, number 2 on our list, and so important. If you are organised and you spread that organisation throughout all of your vendors, everyone's on the same page. Therefore, we are not stressing on the day because we have a run sheet. We know what's going on. Yes, things may go wrong throughout the day, and we can, like, manipulate that run sheet as we go. But look, ultimately, just get organised, get it done soon, not last minute, and enjoy being engaged, enjoy the wedding process.
That's it. All right, number 3, man. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, number 3. I love number 3. This is, like, probably one of my, like, there's so much to talk about. We're gonna, like, this is gonna be a podcast in itself down the track. We're gonna get someone on to help us with this too. I can tell already. But we're talking music, man. Music creates such a vibe on your day, and it can, like. Yeah, oh man, it can do it can make such a big difference on your day. Whether it's, like, just at prep, whether it's at, like, in your portraits, your reception, throughout the day in general. I've got so much to say, and I don't even know what to say. Well, what to say first? I'm just so excited about it because it seriously plays such a big role on the day.
Yeah, for sure. Music is, like, one of those components that really has a vital kind of impact, and it really separates, I think, like, the lower budget type of weddings from what would be considered a more comfortable higher budget wedding. But it's
also in that it's not that hard to, like, make your lower budget wedding feel higher by adding music, and I think that is, like, just there. If that's all you get out of this, like, number 3, talking about music, like, include music in your day, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, like, and I suppose we haven't really, like you're probably listening thinking, like, what are these guys, like, talking about? And we're not saying that you should not have someone manage a Spotify playlist, but there are so many circumstances where there have been instances where Uncle Bob, looking after the playlist, or Cousin Jack, like, picks the wrong song, or, like, the timing's off, and it ruins an entrance. It ruins potentially, like, the bride walking down with the father, and I've seen it way too many times. So music is not something you want to skimp on.
And it's also, like, the classic ruiner is, like, if someone hasn't paid for Spotify and they get the Spotify ad that comes on, oh man, wow, that's definitely a bit of a dampener on the day. But, like, look, there's not, and, like, I guess we're not saying even that you have to have a DJ or you have to have a live muso. Like, just be, I guess that comes a bit back to the organisation too, but just be organised with what that music looks like. Maybe let's just touch a little bit, like, I guess, for when we're talking, like, prep and, like, just break the day down in terms of music. Like, there's always such a difference for me, like, when I turn up to prep in the morning and, like, the tunes are on and, like, everyone's having a good time, and there's, like, but everyone's at this vibe, has set the vibe as soon as we walk in, and it makes such a difference from that, like, I guess, the second we do walk in, and then me and new team, like, I guess, like, whenever we work together through, like, portraits, I always bring a little speaker with me, play some tunes, ask the couple what they like, what brings them joy, what excites them, what do they want to dance to, you know, because we want you to move around. And so I think we get a bit of an idea through prep, what they're listening to, then we can incorporate that into like portraits. I definitely think that's a massive thing.
Yeah, this is actually a question I ask in my questionnaires as well. Like, what are their favorite genres? And like, I use this question mostly because of the video, just to get an idea of their when I edit their video, like what is the music that they connect to? What are their favorite genres, their favorite singers or artists? But it also like plays a role in like using that music as well throughout the day to lift that mood, like lift that vibe. Like,
I've even been throwing out there like, what is your favorite like Spotify playlist or Apple playlist or whatever it is? Like, do you have a favorite
country?
Hot country. Thanks, Nicole and Jay. Throw that one out there. We had a bit of a boogie to hot country one afternoon. That was sick.
Mate, I was digging it. Hey, that was actually so much fun.
I listened to it for like the next week. Hey, I had it on for like the next week. It's like probably now like one of my top played playlists. So,
oh man,
I've been a fan.
My wife loves like a good country playlist.
Yeah, all about it. It was cool. I was digging a bit of it because it definitely has a different vibe to what I normally listen to. So that was sick. Let's talk like canapes / reception as well. When it comes to like the DJ vibes versus the band or like acoustic vibes, there's a lot in this, and this is where I think it's definitely going to pay for. Yeah, in the future, we're going to definitely launch a podcast episode about this specifically, but. Yeah. Do you have a preference? What do you like? I don't know.
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think, like, obviously we've done hundreds of weddings, and like we've seen such a variety of DJing bands. Like for me, I do feel a band, depending on like the couple and like the type of like style of wedding that they're going for. For me, I just think that's just a little bit better potentially. Like it's hard. Like, I don't want to say better. Like there are some absolutely epic DJs out there that really know how to like work a crowd. But I think like you really can't beat live music, man. Like
no,
you really cannot beat like just someone like that's such a good singer strumming away, singing at the ceremony, like just absolutely having a ball, lifting that vibe, and then singing and playing throughout canapes, and then also potentially like doing some DJing later in the night. But for me, it's really hard. You really can't beat a live band.
That's it, yeah. And like I think the best for me the positive about a live band is that they can read the room and play songs accordingly. Like. You know, there's not always time for, I don't know, the classic Mr. Brightside or Wonderwall when everyone's sitting down, like, eating dinner, right? Like,
play Kazan! Play Kazan!
like, it's just, there's a time and a place for some things. There's a lot of acoustic, let's say solo acoustic players out there that, you know, they'll do that, and then in their, like, break, they'll, like, Spotify manage, or they'll, like, DJ, or whatever. There's also a lot that, like, play rad tunes throughout the day, Spotify manage in between, and then once it gets to the, like, dance floor, they're on the DJ decks smashing them away too. So, look, there's definitely a time and a place for it. You can definitely get a bit of both, but the main important thing is just, having someone that can read the room so that, like, the flow is there, and that there's not like awkward silence.
Yeah, like I've got so many stories about this, but I have seen like dance floors just like absolutely dissipate, and like people essentially like run as if there's mice on the floor, just because of like music choice, the selection, maybe things gone wrong, like with speakers, like
I think it makes such a difference as well, like having someone else take care of that aspect of the day, like especially when it comes to like speakers and all that sort of stuff, like that technology. Like you don't want a cousin or a brother or a sister or a grandpa, I don't know, someone to take care of that for you. Like it's a big responsibility, and having like that, let's call it elevator music. It's not elevator music, but having like that space filled in while like dinner's happening and all that sort of stuff, it just makes the vibe of the day so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. So that's number 3 on how to make your wedding day epic. And for me, like that's a non-negotiable. Having
100%.
a good music, DJ or a band. All right, number 4 is be comfortable. So what do we mean by this?
Being comfortable is not I guess it's not just in front of a camera or any of that sort of thing. It's actually to do with like the next the next level before that. And that is like, there's plenty of people that we get to capture that are, I don't know, like not comfortable in the dress they're wearing, not comfortable in the shoes they're wearing, not comfortable in the suit they're wearing. Maybe the boys are wearing the wrong undies. Who knows what it is? But I think the main thing for us is like, we want to make sure that you guys are comfortable, and it's not just from like everything's in the right places comfortable. It's in a sense of like, you can walk in it, you can dance in it, you can move around in it.
Yeah, like you want your let's just put a highlight on the wedding dress. I think that's probably one of the most kind of like talked about like items here. And you want your wedding dress to be comfortable, right? Like you want it to be practical. You are going to be walking around in that thing. You really are. So like, I think there's been a few occasions where we've seen brides like, yeah, they really want like this particular dress and they'll wear it no matter what, but it may not be super practical. Like it may absolutely be so big that they struggle to walk around or do a U-turn in it.
Absolutely. And also not even just the fact of like moving, the way the weather's been the last, I don't know, year, 2 years, whatever it is, it's been wet and dresses get dirty. So I think you have to remember that as well. Like the bigger the dress, the more chance it is it's going to get dirty. Yeah, I don't know about you. Like, I maybe you do wear dresses on your weekend, but I've never worn a dress before. But I can't imagine that it would be that fun trying to walk around in a big number. If it's a struggle, it's not going to be that enjoyable on the day.
Yeah, like I think I've been like really lucky. A lot of the couples that I work with, like the brides just want to have fun and they really don't care if the dress gets a little dirty. And
it's
look,
part
most
of the
of the weddings,
experience, right?
I know. Like I think most of the weddings we do are really like away from like the city. They're more in a rural farm, potentially a venue where it's like it's not just a concrete jungle.
Yeah.
So there is the potential for it to get a little bit dirty. And I feel like I'm just so lucky I get to work with brides that just want to absolutely rock it and just want to have a good time and don't really care if there's a bit of dirt on the dress.
Absolutely. And, I think as well, it's important to like, if have the opportunity that your partner is not around, so they can't see your dress, to like put it on, put the shoes on you're going to wear and make sure that you're comfortable in it. If that means you have to get it taken up at the front a little bit, I don't know what that looks like, but do something that if it needs to be tailored slightly to make it better for you on the day. Like it's something as simple as that can bring you so much extra joy and comfortability. I don't know if comfortability is a word, but anyway, we'll call it a word on the day. It's going to make such a difference.
Yeah, a big hot tip for the boys and I suppose even for the girls is try what you're wearing on months, at least weeks before the wedding. Do not just wait until the morning of to try on your shoes. Man, like I cannot tell you how many times like it's been like a wrong size shirt that's actually been that's rocked up and the guys have not tried it on, and it just looks like this guy's wearing, or the groomsman is just wearing an absolute like kite as a shirt. Like it looks so bad.
And also, don't forget to like iron your shirt early too. Like that's a good tip. And make sure you've got everything with you. Have you ever? I don't know if I've told you the story, but make sure like talking about this probably doesn't touch about comfortable, but it just reminded me about when you were saying like try your stuff on early. I had this one of the first ever weddings I shot. Someone was in charge of buying like the ties, and the person who was meant to buy the ties missed the memo about buying the ties, and it was like an hour before the wedding, and there was like 5 groomsmen and a groom, and like no one had a tie, and we were like in the Hunter Valley, and like they were like, oh, we'll just go to Cessnock, and like the only thing that was open on like a Saturday afternoon like at 4 o'clock or something ridiculous was like Lowe's or something, and they had to go and buy these like classic like schoolboy ties and wear them for the wedding. It was so great.
Oh, how does that happen, man? Honestly.
Missed the memo. And the amount of guys I feel like as well when it comes to like suits is like they like wait till like the last minute to go and get their suit in general. Like I always ask for like my like questionnaires like, I don't know, 2 months before the wedding. The amount of times that the people reply to my questionnaire for like when it comes to the suit part being like to be confirmed, because they haven't even bought it yet is crazy. And then like on the flip side, the girls have had their dress already for like 6 to 12 months. Like they're just like super organized all over this. Like it's just ready to go, and they're just waiting for the day. And the boys are like day before, oh, I guess we should get a suit. We have it pretty easy, I guess.
Oh god, yeah. So like that also comes into organization as well. But that's that's pretty crazy.
It's mental. Anyway, all right. So that is number 4 for how to make your wedding day epic, and we are up to number 5. And look, I definitely think, like we touched on this probably at the start of the podcast, but yeah, number 5 is probably one of the biggest, and probably one of the things that we value a lot when it comes to like our photography and videography, and what helps us on the day capture you the best way properly. Got the words
100%. So number 5 is attitude. Having the right attitude for your day, bringing the right vibe. And it's such a big one. Like wedding days are not picture perfect. They are not like, it's not a perfect day where everything just goes completely 100% right. But I think when couples really understand that it's their day, and things aren't necessarily going to go potentially the way that they planned, but they're not going to let it get to them. They're going to have the right attitude, and then they're going to let their vendors take control of the things that they can't, but they're just going to enjoy the day and enjoy what has been potentially a year and a half, 2 years of like monumental planning.
It's like literally that's it. Like, I think I touched on it, like I touched on it earlier, like, with a different part of the day. Like, if your attitude is not right from the onset, what's the right word there? I don't even know. But anyway, if your attitude is not right from the start, that's a better word. We can't really fix that. Like, me and Tim, or, hopefully your videographer or photographer, whoever you have picked, is there to make sure that the vibes are there, the attitude is like on point. We want to make sure that you guys have the best day. But it's very hard for us to change that if you are disappointed, upset with what is happening. I've said it a million times. I've said it once tonight. Look at yourself in the mirror next time you're upset. See what you look like. I promise you that you will probably not really enjoy what you're looking at. And so, that's where attitude comes into place. If it's raining, turn that frown upside down. Let's just get out there. Let's rock it. Man, we've recently, especially Tim, we've done some epic stuff in the rain, especially at night. I love it when it rains at night. It's sick.
Yeah. When it's cold, some people might be complaining, but it's the couples that just want to have a bit of fun, let go of, it may be cold, it may be wet, but we're just going to get out there. It's our wedding day. Let's enjoy it. And I'm telling you, that is what produces the best content, hands down.
100%. How about, let's just touch on today. I just remember this afternoon when we were talking with Scott, he was not that keen on photos, right? But he said something that I've heard plenty of grooms say before in the past, and it makes such a difference on the day. And that is, he literally said, he was like, I don't love photos, but I know that Lisa, my wife, really wants to get epic photos, and I'm just here to make sure that happens. I am here to make sure that I do whatever I can, whatever's in my power, to make sure that she is having a good time, right? And he's fully there for her, and he's just got his head switched on, and he's like, yeah, I'm getting it done. I'm going to have the best time. I'm going to have fun with it, even though I feel a little bit awkward, or even though I don't really want to be here. That sounds terrible, but if you have that attitude of positive vibes, and you're sending out those positive vibes to your partner, you are having such a good time, and it's not something that you're planning on doing. Everyone is just on the same page.
Yeah, it just changed the environment straight away. Hey? Because he had a great sense of humor, and yes, even though he wasn't keen on having cameras in his face, and he wasn't keen on getting photos, we just had an absolute ball, just bringing some banter. And then I think regardless, even though he was trying for his wife, I think he started to enjoy that process just because we were having so much fun with him. Because
That happens all the time too, right? Like, that's not just him. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
There's so many grooms that come back to us and they're like, oh man, like that was so much better than I thought it was. But their attitude was right from the second we started taking photos, and they were just like, I'm just going to rock it and I'm just going to get it done. And I know we're picking on the groom right now, but let's be honest, 99% of the time, it's the ladies that love the photos and the boys that don't love them so much.
Yeah, yeah, and this is where it comes into like how we, in our approach, so we add an element of fun, games, like banter, add a sense of humor, like to the situation, because when we get to know you guys and we get to know like what you guys like, what makes you tick, the type of people you are, and we can connect with you, have a joke with you, things get natural, things get fun, and you forget about the cameras. Like, and it's just a couple of people, a couple of mates having a bit of fun. Like, yes, we have a camera, but it's like, it's just an absolute vibe.
Absolutely. And that's why we communicate with you guys. We try and use like what we've heard throughout the morning of the prep. We try and use what we've heard, like, I don't know, potentially at the ceremony, and like what the celebrant said. And then we see how you guys interact with each other. And we make sure we bring all of the attitude from like the morning of all the way through in the lead up, or maybe even from like our questionnaires. And yeah, we just throw those good positive vibes out there, and we make sure that you guys are having the best time possible to make your wedding day epic.
That's it. Yeah, so we did touch on this on in episode 2 as well, and a lot of the pre-planning has got to do with this. Like, we don't just rock up and shoot your wedding and expect you to be comfortable with us. Like, that is a process by itself. So us rocking up on the day, we're rocking up as friends, and we're making sure that we do bring a vibe. We are having fun, and yes, things may go wrong, like every wedding, but if you can bring the right attitude, if you can bring some positive vibes, and understand that things can go wrong, but that's okay. We're not going to let it affect the day, and we're not going to let it affect your mood, because if you're going to be, excuse me, if you're going to be upset on your wedding day, like, have a think in a month, 2, 6, 12 months from now, and think, are you still going to be thinking about that? Like, is that still going to be an issue for you? And most likely the answer is going to be no. So let it go. Like, enjoy the day. You've spent a lot of money up to this point. You've spent a lot of time planning your epic wedding. So let it flow. Use these 5 things to ensure that you can make your wedding day as epic as possible. Have fun. Get clear on your negotiables and non-negotiables. Make sure you're well organized. Utilize your vendors to ensure that all the planning is done, and you can make sure that you're accounting for everything. So then if something does happen on the day, you don't have to worry about that. Your vendors can look after it. You can utilize your vendors to ensure that they can make everything run, essentially. They can run. You can utilize your vendors to make sure that they can look after it, so you can relax, you can be stress-free. That's what you're paying your vendors for. Number 3 was music. Making sure that you incorporate music, whether that be a DJ or a band, but just understand that music has such a vital aspect on your day to ensure that it is such an epic day. Number 4, being comfortable, being practical, understand the environment that you're in. And number 5, bring in positive vibes and the right attitude to your wedding day. Anything you want to add?
You nailed it, mate. Perfect summary. And yeah, look, I think ultimately for us, you just need to trust your vendors. Include people on the day that are going to bring those positive vibes and, make you guys comfortable and help you organize the wedding to be epic. We go to a lot of weddings. We do this full time. I don't think I've ever been to a wedding and been like, I don't know what to do in this moment, because we have experience, and trust the people you have. You've paid them for a reason. And yeah, I think if you can do that, like, you're on the right step to making sure that your wedding is epic.
That's it. Awesome.
Hopefully we've given some value tonight, Tim. Hey, I feel like, yeah, look, there's a lot we've probably thrown at you guys. Hopefully you've got the notepad and pen down. Go back, listen to it again. But I guess that's the aim for this podcast, is we want to make sure that, we're continuing to bring that, I guess, the good vibes to you guys and helping you plan to make your wedding epic.
That's it. If you like what you heard, guys, we'd appreciate a review. Let us know what you think. Any feedback is appreciated.
Even if it's bad, that's okay.
Even if it's bad.
Hopefully it's good. But yeah, look, we're also open to, if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about, feel free to jump onto our Instagram, which is makeitepic.podcast. And yeah, flick us a message on there. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you want us to, dive deep into any specific subjects. We're always looking for new content to talk about, to help you guys make your day epic. And yeah, hopefully this has helped you tonight or today, whenever you're listening to it. And yeah, we will be back next week with another episode, which we're super keen for. And yeah, leave us a review, give us a bit of love, and we will chat soon.
All right. Thanks, team. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Usual. Bye.
Bye.